The topic for tonight is love your thyroid. This topic is near and dear to my heart. I suffered for over a year with non-typical symptoms of hypothyroid without thinking that anything was wrong with my thyroid, but I was absolutely miserable. My first symptom was tinnitus, or ringing in the ears. I also gained weight. I was depressed. I had muscles that would burn after exercise. I remember it was just awful. And I couldn't even cross my legs without my legs falling asleep. My body temperature was also very low. It was 97.5, which is not typical. I then started to lose my hearing. Okay, these are non-typical for hypothyroid. Went to an ENT, and I still went undiagnosed as no problem with my thyroid, except they wanted to put me, fit me for hearing aids for hearing loss. So this was my journey so far. I could not find an answer. I was also sensitive to cold, but that's been my whole life. I've been that way. So I didn't throw up a red flag with me. Also, every symptom I had, I thought it was related to my hormones or the stress that was going on in my life. And one of the most common symptoms, which is brittle hair and dry skin, I didn't have either of them for the first year that I had these other symptoms. So I'm going to go on. Let's see here. So your thyroid. It turns out that 1 out of every 3 people have a sluggish thyroid. It's amazing statistics. The thyroid controls just about every cell in your body. This means that every tissue, every organ can be affected. What is your thyroid? For those unfamiliar with what the thyroid is, it's a gland that's located in the front of the neck, below the Adam's apple or the voice box. And the thyroid produces thyroid hormone. Now the pituitary produces your thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, so if your pituitary gland is not working properly, it's not producing the thyroid stimulating hormone, which is not encouraging your thyroid to produce the thyroid hormone. But what's interesting about this is that 95% of hypothyroid patients have a problem with their thyroid, not the pituitary. Okay, so what is hypothyroidism? Hypothyroid means underactive or sluggish thyroid. The thyroid gland doesn't produce enough thyroid hormone. The most common symptoms of thyroid problems is fatigue, weakness, weight gain, difficulty losing the weight, even if you're trying diets like the keto diet. I was on that and I didn't lose 8 pounds when I was trying to, when I was going through this whole process. Coarse, dry hair, your hair starts falling out, muscle cramps, sensitivity to cold, and constipation. Those are common symptoms. What I found very interesting that Dr. Rouse said was that many symptoms may show up long before it shows up in blood work, a thyroid blood panel. So if you're going to the doctor and you've got symptoms and your doctor says, no, your thyroid's fine, it may not be the case. You may have a sluggish thyroid. Okay. Causes of hypothyroidism. Worldwide, the most common cause of hypothyroid is iodine deficiency. Iodine binds to the receptors on your thyroid gland to help your thyroid function properly. We are not only iodine deficient, though. This is one of the problems. We consume other substances that compete with iodine for the receptors on your thyroid. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. One is bromide. All right, bromide is found in breads and baked goods and other in other forms in like Gatorade or soft drinks. It's even in pesticides. And another example is fluoride. Okay, these elements cause a major disruption in your thyroid function, and they've also been linked to thyroid cancer. So hyperthyroid is also more common in women and in people that are over the age of 60 years old. All right. Hashimoto's disease. Okay, this is the major, the most common cause of hypothyroidism in the USA. And what this is an autoimmune disorder or condition where the immune system makes antibodies that attack and damage your thyroid. To give hope to people with autoimmune diseases, I have learned over the years that the immune system is just confused. It's not broken. So there's hope for people that have autoimmune disorders. With proper nutrients, I have witnessed people suffering from autoimmune disorders become asymptomatic. I firmly believe that when given the proper nutrients in the right balance, the body has the ability to heal itself. And usually I've seen it happen, the recovery, as soon as even 3 months of having the immune system start to recognize itself again. So with that being said, let me introduce Dr. Rouse. Okay, Dr. Charlie Rouse, he's a naturopathic, he's a doctor of naturopathic medicine. He's a founder of Modexis Product Review Council. He's a registered pharmacist and a pharmacologist, and he's a product formulator. He's the owner and operator of the Medicine Man in Albany, Georgia. He does weekly podcasts on helping people to restore their health. He's also the author and the international speaker. He's written 3 books, and he's formulated natural products for over the last 30 years. This man is absolutely brilliant. What we love too is the Modexis products are very safe. According to Dr. Rouse, there are no negative interactions or interference with prescription drugs. And Adrian and I know of years and years of working with supplements that's usually not the case. So that's always an issue that we have to address. And with that, we have a disclaimer. So we make no medical claims that the products cure, treat, or heal disease. We're just simply passing on information to you, sharing our experiences and our testimonials as health advocates. Okay, Dr. Rouse created one of his dream formulations with thyroid deficiency in mind. So if you suffer from hypothyroid or you want to prevent hypothyroidism, longevity is an answer. One of the many benefits of Lanacera longevity is the improvement in all the body systems. And one of the reasons is increased iodine effectiveness in the body, absorption. The iodine is part of a super nutrition mineral called centramin that's found in the Lanacera longevity capsules. According to Dr. Rouse, it is the perfect food. Its unrefined form, it contains every mineral that the body needs in the exact proportions, which includes iodine to feed the thyroid. With Hashimoto's disease, the antibodies attach to the thyroid, causing the gland to swell and not produce thyroid hormone. The nutrition in the Lanacera longevity, called glutathione, is a perfect answer to address the antibody reaction or antibodies that don't belong. The very clinical and powerful proven anti-inflammatory benefits of the Lanacera berry in longevity also helps restore the immune system. So every disease, think about this, every disease starts with inflammation in the body. And we simply do not get enough antioxidants in our food supply today to neutralize that daily damage that's occurring. So here is Dr. Rouse's dream formula number 1 that we're talking about, and this is the nutrient breakdown. And seriously, if you could choose one product to take forever, I truly believe that longevity would be the product to take. So longevity has the power of 25 times the antioxidant power of blueberries or blackberries. And it's rich in resveratrol. And resveratrol has been shown to turn on a gene in your body that can reverse the aging process. So that is very powerful. The ancient people of Japan referred to Lanacera as the fruit of long life and vision. It is quickly building a reputation as being the most powerful, antioxidant-rich, nutrition-packed berry on the planet. Mm-hmm. And it's so exciting that we have it in these 2 products. Mm-hmm. A compound that is rich in the Lanacera berry is called C3G, and it's been clinically shown to support anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, neuroprotective, cardioprotective, and antioxidant properties. Dr. Rouse has always been ahead of the game, so it's really exciting that we are one of the first to bring this to the US. We also, if you notice on the slide here, we also have a patented milk thistle, and that's number one, to detox our liver. Okay, it also helps the liver to produce more glutathione. Glutathione is our master antioxidant. It also has many other vital functions. This patented form of milk thistle can penetrate tissues that other forms of milk thistle can't. And then I talked about this earlier, the Centrum mineral powder contains 70+ plant-derived trace minerals. And then there's clinical levels of glutathione, which is very, very powerful, makes it extremely powerful, and maki berry. And maki berry is another powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. It's excellent for eye health and protection, as well as mental clarity and focus and concentration. These and other nutrients listed here will give the body extra nutrition needed so that the body and the mind can function as God planned. And, you know, even selenium that's on this list is very powerful for the thyroid, very healthy for the thyroid, but it's hard to get it in our food and the amounts that we need. So Dr. Rouse put it all together in this one product, which is just very, very exciting. So there is no reason why the quality of our lives should decline as we age. And so that is all I wanted to talk about tonight on the thyroid, because we want to open it up for discussion and for questions that you have. But I would like you guys to save the date for next week. Adrienne is going to be talking about the immune system. And we're doing this weekly for a while, so we're really excited. And we thank you for joining and listening in tonight. Okay, I'm going to stop my share. Okay. Let's open it up for questions, conversation.
Well, I think I'll start because I have had a non-functioning thyroid since, well, and I don't know when it became non-functioning, but literally, you guys, this is how I found out I had something wrong. I was, I think, watching Oprah, and I was going out, or it was either Oprah or the Today Show. And there was a doctor on there, and he was talking about, and I didn't know where the thyroid was. I mean, where is it? And he said it's a butterfly gland, and was explaining. And he said, if you could feel there, then you could feel if you have lumps or whatever on it. Well, I felt my thyroid, and doggone it, I had some knots on there. And so I thought, well, I better get I had never had a physical. So I thought, well, maybe I ought to get a physical. So sure enough, the doctor then sent me, I had needle biopsy done. And luckily those nodules were not cancerous, but it was because of what, like Deb was talking about with the stimulating hormone, something. It was either, and she and I had a conversation about it earlier, the doctor explained, because once I became on the, got on the medication, then those nodules went away. And so I've been on it now 20 years, but because my thyroid basically just doesn't function. So the medication is taking its place. Wouldn't that be, Deb, how you would say, I mean, wouldn't that be the answer? With me being on the medication, it's taking the place of my thyroid doing the job, right?
Yes, yeah.
So what I'm excited.
Adrienne's a nurse here.
Right. Okay, Nurse Adrienne, what would that?
Oh, you're doing great. Plus, I think people can relate better the way you're saying it.
Right.
That's exactly right. Yes.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So that was, that was interesting for me. And and also I feel like I've met other friends or I know family members that have had their blood work checked, and their thyroid levels are like they say on the border, like they're low, but not enough, like maybe you really need medication, but it's like, well, you don't think? And so does that happen a lot too, Adrienne and Deb?
So if a lot of doctors treat according to a lab value and not your symptoms. So it's hard to find. If you find a physician or a practitioner who works with you and your symptoms, you're very fortunate. I'm not fortunate, but it took me years to find someone. And then they look at, there's a range of low and high, right? Mm-hmm. And if you're right at the bottom of low, a lot of doctors, the way they were trained, you're good. Yeah. You want to be optimal. You want to be in the upper third of that range. You don't want to be hanging at the bottom of the cliff. But the secret is to have good nutrition, maintain your optimal health, and then if you
Right.
do need medication, finding a physician or practitioner who will work with you like a partner.
Right. Well, it turns out that my new primary doctor is a holistic based. I mean, so she's one that will be interesting because I've now been on the Lonacera or the longevity for, I'm in my 3rd month. And so I'm looking at maybe next month having a blood panel done and just seeing if maybe it'll affect what the amount I'm on. I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting. I just know that I just feel incredible, really good.
You look
Well,
good too.
oh, sorry. I was going to say that's me to a T as
Yeah.
far as I have the autoimmune diseases, as you know. And so, but I started out by asking, is there something wrong with my thyroid? Because I have the typical symptoms of what hypothyroid would be. And every test, I came out on the low side, and every doctor said, no, you're fine. You're okay. You don't need medication. And I got frustrated because I thought, even if it's low, maybe would it just help? No. So I couldn't get any that would say yes.
Mhm.
And so that's why I'm really thrilled about this product here,
Yeah.
products that we have here, and anything that will help with this autoimmune. I still truly believe there is something wrong with my thyroid.
Yeah.
Maybe the only one, but I do believe it.
Right.
It can be a contributing factor, like when Deb was talking about bromide and fluoride. Why all of a sudden is there so much hypothyroidism in the United States?
Right.
So when Deb was explaining how those molecules, like in the fluoride, compete for your receptor sites in the thyroid, so then the thyroid can't function.
Right.
So there's a lot of lifestyle things we can do, like not use fluoride, not drink fluoride. Bromide, that's a problem. Any tips on that one, Deb?
Stay away from processed baked goods, and breads. It's in a lot of breads. Now there are some certain companies that are actually stating that they're bromide-free flour.
Oh,
Because
wow,
they
I didn't
use
even
it.
know that.
Yeah, they use it for a whitening agent and to help it with shape of the dough, and but it can be toxic to the body, and it's a shame that we even have that at all in our products. So we have to worry about that. We
Right.
shouldn't have to. And then they took out, iodine, and used to have iodine in a lot of these products. That they took it all out. So now iodized salt is not powerful enough to give us the iodine that we
No.
need.
Yeah.
No, and the minerals that you were discussing in the formula there. So as you all probably know, we over-farm our land. We don't let it rest. There's no minerals in our soil. So that's where a lot of our deficits are also coming from. So it's exciting to have all those minerals in this formula to replenish what's missing.
Right. Lynn, did you have something? It looked like you were getting ready to say something.
I was actually going to just kind of expand on some of the things that are causing problems. Other things are like phthalates in our cosmetics and lotions, as well as laundry detergent and fabric softeners. The things that smell nice are not good for you.
Right.
Teflon pans. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Chemicals.
Takes care of a perfume then. Boy, not good.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hormone disruptors.
Very bad for liver, thyroid, all our organs.
I have a question. Deb, you were talking about bromide in bread. What will it say bromide if you look at the label, or will it say some other thing that you can't understand?
Good question, Diane.
Yeah, it should say bromide or bromine.
Bromine or bromide,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Or there's another form. You can just Google it. It'll give you all the forms.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, you should see some sort of bromide phosphate or something like that
Yeah.
in the ingredients.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Deb, do you think that that's probably more than just like your typical store-bought on the shelf bread? I'm just thinking, I sure hope it isn't in those artesian rolls, Steve, from Costco that we like so much.
I doubt it with Costco. Costco's pretty good about their.
I know, and they bake the bread there in the thing, but still, I got to.
Still, you're talking about. Someone made a really good point. Check the flour. If it's bromide-free flour, then you don't have an issue. But I never even thought. I mean, the way I feel about it is bread's bad for you. Period. If you have any kind of weight issues at all, stay away from bread and chips and everything else, and you're going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's, to me, bread's a filler. There's nothing in bread that's worthwhile other than it's fills you up, and then you don't eat the good stuff that you're supposed to eat. So to me, that's more a logical thing than.
Okay, so we're gonna tell Mom that when she does that artesian roll with the goat cheese and marmalade on it for breakfast.
No, don't tell her.
No, does that sound
We
good?
won't. No.
No, she's very happy living the way she is.
Of
She's
course.
healthy, and so
Right.
everybody's body's a little different. That's
Of course.
the thing. The thing that's so high, I probably have lost 1,000 pounds in my lifetime, which is not good for my body. I understand that. Now I don't have to deal with it any longer. But everybody's body is so different in how it uses the nutrition you do put in it. And you just have to figure it out for yourself by watching how your body reacts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love meat, but I have to really kind of stay away from it because my body reacts not too good to it.
Mm-hmm.
So especially if it's dense, like I don't know the last time I ever had a steak, because that meat's just terrible for me to try to digest.
Yeah, just listen to your body.
Yeah. I mean, it's the thing that I always am amazed with my body is that if I'm really paying attention, it almost tells me everything I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And I laugh at, one of the best things I learned is how to really laugh at myself when I say, no, I don't want to listen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only reason that I do some of the, I'll say, forget it. I'm going to have my hot fudge sundae, and I know sugar is terrible for me. I shouldn't have it, period. But I treat myself every now and then to it. And then I just say, okay, I'm going to suffer for a while with it. And it's no big deal.
Right. Well, you recognize the reason why. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to pay the price.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Hey, Adrian, your mic's off.
I said it was a calculated decision.
Right. Exactly.
I have a question.
Yes,
Go
Lisa.
for it.
Go.
Hi, guys.
Yeah.
Am I muted?
You're unmuted. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi. I actually, when Liz was doing the introduction, I said, well, I'm Lisa Albertson, and I'm in
God,
Carmel.
Lisa,
When Liz was doing the introduction, that's okay. I figured I'll jump in here and let you guys know. I know quite a few of you on here already. Anyway, my daughter, who's 28 now, was diagnosed with Hashimoto's when she was 11.
Oh my goodness.
Finding a pediatric endocrinologist was a challenge, and we went through everything to try to figure out what it was. She had leg fatigue and aches and all this, everything that could be explained away, because she was a cheerleader and a gymnast, and every ache and pain and headache and everything she had could be attributed to all of that. So Riley Children's Hospital that doctor wanted to, is it a blight or blight? Basically kill off her thyroid when she was 11. And I said, no, we haven't tried medicine. We're not going to do that. There's going to be something else. She's just 11. So she then developed a fish and shellfish allergy. And so she's, I think, if I remember correctly, has been told she shouldn't have iodine. But I was considering these products for her, but then when you were going through the slides, it talks about iodine quite a bit. So can you address if that would be an allergy item, or would that have anything to do with the fish and shellfish and sea salt allergy? Any thoughts?
Adrian, do you want to take that?
It's normally allergies, so that's one I wouldn't be able to answer without a practitioner.
Yeah,
unless you have some other information, Deb.
The only thing I know that I have heard over the years is that people that are allergic to shellfish might not necessarily be allergic to iodine in other forms, meaning, from minerals, right? But that's, again, something you're going to have to ask the doctor about, because, that's everybody's different.
Right. I think that would be something I would have her doctor review, because I think the benefits could be huge. And if that's really not an allergy, it wouldn't be an allergy item, or maybe it would be just the right cusp that she would, need. But
they're going to need to know the source of it, right? They're going to need to know it's not a seafood source.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be the deciding factor, probably.
Right,
Okay.
right. So Lisa, is she on medication for her Hashimoto's then?
She is. She's been on the same dose, and I don't remember what it is now because she's just taken the same pill and the same dose since I think she was 12.
Right.
And she has slowly been introducing sea salt back in. The fish and the shellfish would actually close her throat and be life-threatening. The
Wow.
sea salt is just that histamine reaction where she puffs up and she has to take a Benadryl and she doesn't feel good. But she's been introducing it back in slowly.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a point where she knows, then she'll get a headache and she knows she's had too much. But it's just so hard because they're putting sea salt in everything.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, so she's been on medication since she was 11.
Okay.
You know, the thing, one of the things that's interesting, because you mentioned the word salt, and I have a close relative that salt is the most important ingredient in everything he does. And
Who's just a carrier for the salt, Steve?
yeah, everything's a carrier for the salt. And I think Liz
Talking
knows
about my
what I'm
husband.
I think it's really interesting. Other than using salt with warm water, sea salt with warm water to do my sniffing every day, I never use salt on anything. Unless my wife puts it in the cooking and I have no knowledge of it. Because if you have the right seasoning, why do you need salt? Salt's like to bring out flavor, and if you have the right flavor and the right and that's where I'm really lucky. My wife is an incredibly wonderful cook, and she has innate ability for spices. And when you put the right spices in foods, you don't need salt. I mean, I don't get it. So
I agree with you. A lot of our palate.
Go
ahead.
No, I said, she's not looking to add sea salt. It's just that it's you can't buy butter without sea salt, hardly. You can't find a soup without it. You can't buy an organic can of vegetables that doesn't have sea salt in it. So it's those items that she just keeps running into.
Right.
And also, sis, isn't it, if something is, we know that if she goes to a restaurant and something's been cooked and there's sea salt in whatever it's cooked in, if something that she were to eat touches that, she has that horrific reaction, which could be fatal.
Wow. Bless her heart.
That's terrible going out and eat. I mean, that would be a horrible.
Oh, it's horrifying.
Yeah.
It's scary. But I'm glad for her that she's introducing it back in, and I really, I just think right now that something like the longevity would be good for her.
Right.
Under supervision initially.
Right. And like Adrian said, finding what the source of it is.
Right.
Right.
Right. That, yeah.
Yeah.
So does the thyroid regenerate itself? I mean, like, can you repair it, or do you just find a better balance for it? Because I know we talked about the liver can regenerate, yeah.
Right.
So I'll start, Deb. So any organ that starts to get fibrotic or stiff, that part won't reverse, right? So we want to catch it before it gets to that part. Now, people can live with a piece of a liver, people live with a piece of a thyroid as long as it's functioning well and optimally. But if it gets to the point where it's fibrotic or stiff, that part won't reverse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very passionate about letting people know all the different symptoms, because I waited so long to get diagnosed that I have a lot of scar tissue on my thyroid. So I'm experimenting now with Dr. Rouse with the longevity, doing double dose to see if I can get some of that back and take, reduce my medication. But yeah, if you wait too long, like Adrian says, you might not be able to reverse it.
Right.
Keep in mind, though, up until now, we've not had access to longevity. So we may be saying something different in a few months.
That's right.
Yes. I'm looking forward to getting mine checked again. Yeah.
Maybe we're going to change. It is a movement. We're changing history.
Right. Exactly.
Well, now the question I have is one of the questions I have is, I know I have all my health records on my phone in a document. So when I go to the doctor's office, I always, they have these long list of everything to fill out, and I just hand them the form. And say, here, staple it to your form. And so I have longevity on there. I have lift on there. They look at it. They're going to look at it and say, "What the hell's that? I mean, what's in it? That's the thing I get all the time whenever I have a supplement, or in the past, whenever I had a supplement on there. And I run across doctors that just absolutely don't believe in supplements at all, period, the end.
Right.
That's just how they react. And it's just like, I will not pay. The doctor asks me to do something as far as a prescription. I go to the pharmacist and I talk to him about it. How does that combine with anything else that I'm taking or not taking or whatever? Because doctors don't have a clue when it comes to prescriptions. I mean, they really don't. I can't tell you the number of times in the past year, the pharmacist down at CVS here has caught mistakes from the doctor and apologized. The doctor actually apologized. God apologizes. Every now and then happens because the pharmacist caught him right away. You can't take those two drugs together. So I don't, it's really hard. I want to give the doctor all the information, but on the other hand, they don't know what to do with it when they get it.
Right. Yeah. It gets down to we're in charge of our own health. It really is. Yeah.
So.
And that's what we love about Dr. Rouse, is because I can text him and say, look, this person has blah, blah, blah. And he'll ask me medications, and he knows all these interactions. It's so nice to have somebody like that. And you can certainly call your pharmacist and ask them questions with medication and interactions.
Right. Right. And be able to have like a conversation with him. I mean, sometime soon we'll actually have him on a call, which I'm really looking forward to. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd like to share a couple other things that were really strange with me when I was trying to diagnose my thyroid. Didn't know it. I kept saying to people, I've lost when you flex you see that? Oh, I got one right there, but this one's gone.
You're missing something.
And I kept telling people, I'm like, I've lost that, and I don't know why. And people just thought I was like losing my mind, And I think it's because my thyroid, something to do with my thyroid and it being swollen. My neck was swollen for so long that I just lost that definition right through here. And it's probably still, pardon me?
A turtleneck.
Yeah. And my voice changed. I listened to a video from a year ago of me, and I didn't even know it was me. I was talking and I was like, who is that? And it was me. It was like my voice was so much lower, but it happens so gradually that you don't even notice it's happening. And I snored really loud for a while. So.
Wow. Good. Well, does anybody else have anything to offer information? Okay, Michelle. Yes.
I just wanted to add that I think one of the issues that's happening within the healthcare system is the fact that a lot of times they'll just run a TSH. And if that TSH is normal, which is what your brain is producing, that's what they talked about with that, gland in your head that produces the TSH hormone, and then everything else happens in your thyroid gland. The T4 is made in your thyroid, but we've got one more step for you to feel well, and that T4 goes to other parts of your body like your liver and gets transferred into T3. And a lot of times when people go to the doctor, they're only checking TSH and T4. They're not checking the T3. Even more, they're not checking for antibodies to see if you have Hashimoto's, which is why it's so underdiagnosed. And there's another component called reverse T3, that if you accumulate a lot of T3 in your body, then it's being stored. It's not even being utilized. And a lot of the doctors are not testing a full thyroid panel. And in somebody that has Hashimoto's, it's important for them to rerun some of those antibody panels, because sometimes you won't have both elevated at the same time, but sometimes you'll have one elevated, and then over time you might have the other one elevated at a different time. And then you can still feel bad even though you're being treated with the right medication. sometimes it's just not in the active form to help your symptoms.
Right.
So what I like about what you had said earlier today is not only is it important for us to get the right nutrients and everything to be able to make the thyroid and to eliminate those blockages on the receptors, but also convert it, and some of the products that are in there, like the glutathione, help the liver to do a better job converting it to its active form.
Right.
So I think it's it's really interesting how it all interplays with each other.
Right.
But anyway.
Michelle, that's great information. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
that.
and Michelle, this is really interesting because when they would do my blood work and when I was first diagnosed, I mean, they would do that full panel like every 6 months. And I remember him saying, going through the numbers for everything. When I look and see what I've been diagnosed with, they call it Hashimoto's. So it's, and I know that they did all the TSH, the T3 and the T4, and they would talk about each one. And of course, I'm like, well, whatever. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm glad that it's improving, so, but yeah, so that makes sense now looking back on when they're reporting the blood work to me, what all that means. And fortunately, I have that now on my, we have like a portal now at IU Health, which is, I can see that. And now I understand it better, what the numbers mean.
Something else to know, and it's very inexpensive and easy to test. Most doctors are open to testing for vitamin D. If your vitamin D level is less than 80, your thyroid hormone can't get into the cell. So even if you have enough circulating thyroid hormones, if your vitamin D level in most Americans is low. When I first had mine checked about 20 years ago, it was like 20, and the doctor told me if I were a kid, I would have had rickets. But it's common. It's very common, especially in the Northeast, but it's common everywhere. So it's a very cheap blood test. Most doctors will run it for you, and you want to try to keep your level around at least 80 to optimize the rest.
You say higher than 80 or around 80?
Around 80. I shoot for 80 to 100 for myself personally.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a big difference because, and it's very important to know that, because when you go to the doctor, they will tell you if you have a blood level of 50, they'll say that, oh, you're good, no problem, because that's the norm. But from what I understand is the norm is just taking everybody's, results and then they average it out. So it doesn't necessarily mean that that's optimal. It just means that you're in the normal range.
And if the whole country's low hypothyroid, then
yeah.
Come on.
Normal.
Yeah.
And who wants to be
vitamin
normal
D is
anyway?
cheap and easy, and it's so necessary, right?
And it's in the line of Sarah longevity at 2,500 IUs. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In a highly bioavailable form
Mm-hmm.
that you can use. Yeah.
Yeah. Autistic children, they recommend to be at around 100 or more. They found that that's the optimal range for, they need to be higher than the average person.
Mm-hmm.
So some people will say, well, I take 2,000, I take 5,000, I take 10,000. How much did you take? So it's not how much you take, it's how much you absorb, which is why it's so important, hopefully, to have a holistic practitioner that will test with you. I wasn't always that fortunate, so I found ways, and it's very easy now through Life Extension and other online labs. You can buy your own labs now. That's not optimal, but it's a good place to start if you're shopping for a doctor. Just take a baseline, Life Extension, Ulta test. If you Google online lab tests, you can direct to consumer has been a popular movement now for about 8 to 10 years. At least it gets you started, and then hopefully you can, if you don't already have a really good partner, holistic practitioner, hopefully you can find one.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Great.
Janet, you tried to say something.
Yeah, I'm just curious, like once somebody starts taking this, how quickly are they seeing results? Is it typically someone who has a really low thyroid going on that they see effects quicker, or what's been the experience?
Do you know?
Well, there's a couple testimonials from Dr. Rouse's audio call on the thyroid, and people that just chimed in at the end. And both of them were with Hashimoto's, believe it or not. And it was, I'll just read here, Hashimoto's. This one person said they stopped medication on their own because she felt awful on it. She started on longevity. She did 4 capsules a day instead of 2. And all her numbers had improved in 1 month.
Wow.
And then there was another option that said they had nodules and Hashimoto's greatly improved after 1 month on longevity, 4 capsules daily. So that's very quick. You know, normally what we tend to see is 3 months is minimum for things like that to, results like that. But we're seeing things a lot quicker with the longevity, which is really exciting.
Mm-hmm. And Janet, one of the things, and I don't know if you're interested, there is a official Modexus product Facebook group where people do talk about their different testimonials, how they're experiencing the product and everything, which has been a really great way, the way we share it. If people are just curious about it, that just go in there and are able to explore some of the testimonials, and you can search words like, thyroid or whatever, and anything would then pop up of interest that you would want to look at.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, I'll make sure, because I don't know that I've added, because I would usually ask, and I can't remember if I asked you if you wanted to be in that group.
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah. And it's one of those things I have to invite you and you have to say, okay. And then.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. One of those. Yeah.
But Jana, I'm on started my 3rd month of the longevity and 2nd month of the lift. So I just did 1 month of them by themselves. I haven't had any lab work or anything done to have any numbers to compare, but it's probably middle of the 2nd month that I really started to feel more energized, less creaky, less, just better. Just started. So probably took me into the beginning of the 2nd month, I think, to start to feel something.
Yeah.
Okay. And you were doing what, 2 capsules per day?
I was just doing 2, and I'm still just doing 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you all continue to take other supplements as well?
I am not.
Yeah, I am not either. I actually had some other supplements I was taking and decided that I really wanted to see, because I felt good then too. I mean, I really do always feel good, but I really wanted to see the difference. And one of the testimonials for me is I found out I've got carpal tunnel. But last fall, we had visited our grandkids, and I thought that I had slept on my neck, went for a massage because my whole arm was falling asleep at night. I did have some active release work done, and that all got better, but my hand kept falling asleep. And then my sister said, Liz, I think it's carpal tunnel. And I went, oh, I don't think so. Well, I went to the hand doctor. Well, yeah, it's carpal tunnel. So I've been wearing a brace, but then what was happening is this ring finger was bending over. And then he goes, this thing in your hand, Liz, that's separate than the carpal tunnel. And it was bending over, and my palm was so sore. And in the morning, I would literally go oh. And then once I got it going, it was okay. You guys, I'm telling you, it's gone. I mean, and that's the only thing I've done different is I've been on that now 3 months, and that has literally gone away. And I don't know what else to say, because it was getting worse before. And I kept thinking, I thought heck with the carpal tunnel. I can live with having a brace on at night, but this finger thing, this is driving me insane. And just that, whether it's from the inflammation, I don't know from what it is, but I'm telling you, it's gone. It's gone.
That can be a B6 deficiency. That trigger finger can be.
But what do you think then? Do you think that then, because that's the only thing that I changed, Michelle, was just taking.
It could be that your gut is healed. It could be that you're just absorbing things in your food better and differently. And then you're getting the nutrients more naturally rather than having to supplement with the B6. And I think that's the big thing. If we can get to a place where we're not having to supplement all that stuff away, and we can get a lot of it from nutrition.
Right.
This, I think, facilitates the nutrition working is what I think is happening.
Yeah. So it's one of those things I can't explain it, but that is the only thing that has been the change. Yeah. So.
And again too, I can't say enough how powerful I think the anti-inflammatory benefits that are you know, from the nutrients and the longevity are compared to other products out there, compared to the food. So, you know, if you've got that tremendous amount of anti-inflammatories going through your body naturally, you know, it's gonna, anytime you reduce inflammation, you're going to make major changes in your body.
Right. And I know another thing too, is I call it the red nose family. I mean, my dad and my mom, it's like, okay, you always have like a red nose, right? So now I'm noticing.
We're not going to talk about the wine part.
I know, but Steve, here's what's interesting is, of course, that's the thing, that the first thing I do in the morning when, you know, I look in the mirror is to say, well, how red's my nose this morning? And I can honestly say that just my whole skin tone, and my nose, it's like, oh my God, is that changing? I mean, and I notice a difference because I'm kind of sensitive to it. And I notice that difference. I think that, like you said, from the inflammation or whatever, but that my skin just feels that much more just youthful and more bright, just brighter.
Yeah, Dr. Rouse talks about that, the improvement in your skin, the quality of your skin, even wrinkles. Yeah. Yeah, helping reduce wrinkles.
Yeah. Okay, well, ladies.
There's hope for all of us, huh?
And gentlemen, okay, this is great. Okay, it's 8:55. I mean, does anybody have any other things they want to add? I'm so glad everybody that asked questions and participated. This is fantastic.
Yeah, I learned a lot myself tonight. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I did too. Thank you.
Yes.
So,
Great.
It's nice that we all have problems we can learn from.
Yes.
Right.
Actually, I agree, Steve.
Right, exactly. We're all works in progress, right?
Yes.
As a human being, you're not going to get out of this life without problems.
Right. So
That's the only thing we're guaranteed is problems.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's how we want to handle and make the decisions about them.
Correct.
Exactly.
I agree.
Michelle, can I ask Michelle real quick, what's your background?
I'm a registered nurse and health and wellness coach, and I'm in school for functional medicine coaching.
That's excellent. Great. It's so fun when we have all these people contributing, you know, the knowledge. It's just, this is what this is all about.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Super. Well, and just a reminder too, that anybody that wants the slide deck or this Zoom recording, I load everything up into OneDrive, so it's an easy thing to share. And
also, Dr. Rouse's recording.
Right, and we have Dr. Rouse's recording that we built the slides from, but it's the actual recording he did on one of our calls. So that's something that all that information, if that's of interest, that, you know, just get to one of the three of us, and we're happy to get that to you.
Well, we appreciate that, ladies.
Okay. Well,
We appreciate you.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you all next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys
Have a wonderful night, everyone.
Night.
bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Okay.
Hi, sis.